Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
As I told you, as a little kid when the Italians invaded Ethiopia, and as you very well know, what happened during that time was the League of Nations decided to just, they didn't want to help us.
Yes.
They didn't care. So that was one that made him, because we were black.
Yeah.
Basically, we were. This is it. I mean, this is the cold facts. So
Yes.
he understood. And then, of course, he went to the university in the U.S. Prior to the civil rights movement.
Yes.
So think about it. I mean, he had so many incidents where he was told that he was this and that. That made him basically the you know the so he believed that the only true brothers and sisters are people of African descent. I decided to write because, first of all, my father's story is not my story to
Yes.
keep. It's
Of
a
course.
story. It's an Ethiopian story. It's an
Yes.
African story,
Ah.
and my responsibility is to share it. That's what I thought. Second of all, I think as a proud son and as a proud Ethiopian and a proud African, I just wanted to say thank you to my father. Third, his story, coming from a humble background and doing all these things, all these contributions, I think he'd serve as an example to the African youth and all people. So, as I said earlier, he was born in Harar, a little
Yes.
place called Garamulata in Harar, raised by his father and mother, Yifru and Manushal Gobana. So he was there until he was almost sort of 7, but 6-ish anyways. But and then the Italians invaded Ethiopia.
Yes. Yes.
So his father took up arms to fight the Italians, and he took his son, who was just 6 years old, and his brother, and they just went out. He was fighting, but the battle became intense. So
Yes.
they were forced to go to Djibouti, stayed there for a bit, and they were moved to Kenya. That's where he got his formal education in Kenya,
Okay.
in a refugee school. So he studied a little bit there up to middle school, I believe. And then the Italians were defeated. So he came back to Harar. But unfortunately, Harar, they didn't have a high school there.
Yes.
So he had to look elsewhere. And fortunately for him, a little further out, they were in Ambo at one time with his uncle, I believe. And they actually saw the emperor, and the elders there uh, pleaded with the emperor, there are kids here who want to have an education. And the emperor just said, okay, sure. So
Okay.
this is a mix of students, humble to a point where the prince was also there. This is Emperor Haile Selassie. He would
Yes.
have these kids mix. I mean, nobody talks about this, but
Yes.
that's what he did.
Yes.
And I'm sure the kids felt really good, being together. So once he graduated from high school, the emperor decided to send these kids who had good grades abroad. And my father ended up going to Hope College in Holland, Michigan, and he
Okay.
studied political science there. And then once he was done, he went to Boston University, and then he got another. He got his master's there. And once he was done, I guess it was in 1952, he got back to Addis. He started work in the foreign ministry. as a junior director there
Yeah.
in the American department, I believe, if I recall. He was chosen to be the emperor's private secretary at some point,
Oh,
and worked in the Ministry of Pen. And the Ministry of Pen was like the chief of staff's office here in
yeah.
America. It's a very powerful ministry. So he got to know the emperor very well back then. He was working very close with him, and the emperor saw him as well. He saw observed him, and because of that, a few years later, the emperor chose him, and he picked him to be his foreign minister
Okay.
because he saw, he and one thing about the emperor, he believes in merit,
Yes.
and that's why you see most of his ministers come from humble backgrounds.
Yes.
So my father, my emperor, believed that he was fit for that job in the 60s. The 60s, as you know, Cold War,
Yes.
non-alignment,
Yes.
the two groups, the Casablanca and the Monrovia groups, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is when he thought that this is the man to deal with this.
Wow.
The research that was completely surprised me was, the diplomacy focused on the West.
Yes.
How my father was trying very hard to have this independent foreign policy, and of course the emperor did as well,
Yes.
and how the two were able to do that. That completely surprised me. And I've read cables from Western governments saying really bad things about my dad. So I knew that my dad was doing his work, basically doing a good job for his country.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
when they say bad things about you, when you do
Yes.
when
Yes.
you do good things for your country. And to a point where they wanted him to be removed from the foreign ministry. I said,
Oh
"Oh my
wow.
God!" So this is the pressure that this man had, and also domestically, there were people trying to remove him from power. So it wasn't just a job for my dad. he
Yes.
was there were so many obstacles thrown at his path, but he was able to clear them, and he was able to contribute as much as he could. And we see his work today. That really surprises me, by the way. I asked myself, would I could I have been able to withstand
Yes.
the pressure from outside and inside? I mean, I have so much respect for it.
Yes.
That's what completely surprised me. So just to give a brief background, there was the Casablanca group that was formed before the Monrovia group. It was,
Yes.
Ghana's Nkrumah, Sekou Touré of Guinea, and Modibo Keita of Mali.
Yes.
A very incredible people. I mean, these are like incredible Pan-Africanists who decided that it's time for us to unite.
Yes.
Unless we unite, we cannot move forward. I mean, that was the whole deal. So
Yes.
when they did that, unfortunately, most of the leaders in Africa didn't buy into it, in a sense that maybe the way they were doing it, most likely.
Yes.
So, countries like Nigeria, Liberia, big countries, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, decided, to create another group, Monrovia Group. So and these are big leaders. I respect the leaders today, but
Yes.
I'm telling you, Sekou Touré, Nkrumah, Modibo Keita, Tafawa Balewa on the other
Yes.
side. I mean, these were like really great leaders, and so it was very hard for them to even talk at some point, to a point where they just didn't see eye to eye, and accusations as well, subversions and whatever that was said.
Yes. Yes.
So there was no conversation between them at some point. So here comes this man, of course, with the green light of the emperor. Here he comes, and he did so much to bring these groups together. He started off by going to the Monrovia Summit, which was
Yes.
taking place in Lagos in 1962. The emperor could not go there because the empress was gravely ill, and she
Okay.
died the same year,
Yes.
as you
Yes.
know. So he went there, and while he was there, and again, the emperor had so much confidence in him and decided to just let him be. So while he was there, he convinced all the Monrovia group leaders to have their next meeting in Addis. Incredibly, they all said yes. So when they said yes, and another thing that just completely surprises me, that he sends this cable. Back then, a telegraph, I guess. You just can't reach someone by email or whatever, or you can't just call them. So he sends a telegram, basically asking the emperor if he could come and thank this group for accepting the invitation. The emperor came just for a day. He came and he made that speech, that incredible speech, that we're not in the Monrovia group, we're not in the Casablanca group, we're in the African group. Right? I can give you an example as to how he used the emperor's great name. A good example is when he went to Tunisia. President Bourguiba was like, we don't know each other. How can we talk about unity? So he was not accepting the invitation. So my father said, "Oh my God, the emperor is going to be disappointed that you're not going to come." You know what Bourguiba said? "The emperor knows me." That's what he said. Yes, he said, and I believe the emperor will be highly disappointed, and he might not even go with it if you don't come. Bourguiba right then and then accepted the invitation because he was recognized by the emperor. This is how much clout the emperor had in Africa, by the way, and elsewhere. So people don't realize that when they say things about the emperor, it's people who haven't read about him. One of the agreements that we had with Western powers when they provided military assistance and so forth was not to recognize China uh, in the UN. But this has been given another green light, of course, by the emperor. So they agreed to have my father every year at the United Nations General Assembly to basically advocate for uh, China's inclusion in the United Nations.
Okay.
So it was done. I mean, if you read my father's speeches from 61 to up to 70, 69, I guess 70 was when they came to Addis.
Yeah.
But it constantly, I mean, it was like China has to belong uh, in the UN, right? Its rightful place. That's what he used to characterize it as, its
Wow.
rightful place. So now that was that, and then there was relations with China. Now we're being told you can't, if you want a good relationship with us, you can't recognize China. You can't have an embassy in China, and China cannot have an embassy here. But you see, this is where people don't understand that the emperor had an independent foreign policy.
Yes.
Uh, this is where they don't understand, because if it was up to the foreign powers, we wouldn't have had relations with China. So finally, in 1970, my father had this discussion with the emperor, and they both agreed that uh, formal relations should begin with China, because there's a lot that China can provide Ethiopia. And Ethiopia is a developing country. It needs all the help that it can.
Yes.
And as you know, you get only certain assistance from certain countries,
Yes.
and they're not going to. Most countries were not willing to get you up on your feet, because they don't want you to be an example for the rest of Africa.
Of course.
They want you to stay where you are. We need to keep this going.
Yeah.
We need to really have Pan-Africanism rule our lives now, because
Yes.
that's the only way we can progress. That's the only way we can stand up on our 2 feet. So I encourage everyone to have their kids, read books about Pan-Africanism, enlighten our kids so that the next generation will take up the mantle. And hopefully, we'll be there at some point. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much.
Well, I advise them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, my head started to hurt me too. Like, what more could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa? Get your samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican, and African culture. City samosas, the best samosas in the city.
Well, Haile Selassie I the First, the Almighty. And this is the DejazmatchKwasi. Where there are set thrones of judgment to judgment. Thrones of the house of the great King David. I shall pray for the peace of Ethiopia. May peace be within thy walls and prosperity within thy palaces. Well, don't cry tears. The Lion of Judah shall break all their chains. Face your fears. The passage of time can heal all of our pain. Use your eyes and ears so you can see and hear all of their games. See your peers everywhere. Most man a struggle, but the lands are the same. Them got a slave mentality, slave reality, slave you for salary. Plus police, them full of partiality. For personalities, we fight principalities. And powers we not care about humanity. Them work for vanity, it's all insanity. Most people just want some autonomy. Them will kill your family if they build them economies. Don't cry tears. The Lion of Judah shall break all their chains. Face your fears. The passage of time can heal all of our pain. Use your eyes and ears so you can see and hear all of their games. See your peers everywhere. Most man a struggle, but the lands are the same. We fight against white supremacy. Study them legacy, them build off of felonies. Them have a heart full of jealousies. Them mash up with harmonies. Them want own with melodies. We surrounded by enemies for so many centuries. Them live off with energies. Them put us in a penitentiaries, bury us in cemeteries, chasing their amenities. Every living thing gifted with divinity. Hail the King of all kings. He's the might of the Trinity. He's the head to be feared, stand out to infinity. He's Babylon's nightmare, the fulfillment of prophecy. So, don't cry tears. The Lion of Judah shall break all their chains. Face your fears. The passage of time can heal all of our pain. Use your eyes and ears so you.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The King of Kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I like himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Yeah, hear them high, hear the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, I strive, see sufferation, I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka the DejazmatchKwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk. Welcome to Lion Talk and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Today we have a very special guest, automatic classic, because we're going to go in depth into one of the greatest achievements in the Pan-African history, which was the formation of the OAU. And we're gonna do it through the lens of one of the human beings that was, arguably most responsible for the day-to-day work, painstaking achievements. For us as Rastafari, we would call him an angel. Why would we call him an angel? Because angel means messenger. And if we look at the work, and who am I talking about? I'm talking about Ketema Yifru, and we have his son here today. It's going to be a massive episode. But when we talk about a man appointed by Kadamawi Haile Selassie to implement the coming together of the OAU, the schism between the Casablanca, the Monrovia, the shuttle diplomacy that took place. We're going to get into all of it by the best human being on the earth to give us this account. We're also going to go into his groundbreaking book. I'm asking the Lion Pride, do not embarrass I and I. Please go purchase the book. We want to see a little spike in his purchases after this episode. Lion Pride, I'm the reading Ras. So if we bring authors here, we need our audience to support this groundbreaking work. So make sure you support this work. Before I bring forward the guests for today, let me just take time to big up the greatest online community on the planet. If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. We are nearing 50,000 subscribers. We are the fastest growing Rastafari platform on the planet because of the eyes. We are building community. We are growing in our Patreon. I want to thank all of the recent patrons who are our monthly subscribers that are making this work possible. We believe in the power of independent, non-aligned media. And the only way that media can be truly independent is when it's audience funded and not dependent on any individual sponsorship. That being said, we big up all of our sponsors. Frontline Books, big up yourself. Brother Carl Philpotts, big up yourself. All of our sponsors, CMOS Live from Mia King Design, everyone who's making this possible. Also, I have to give a special thanks to Lidge Nebiat. Nebi, you are our dear friend who made this connection possible and who has been connecting us. We are making great efforts to be a bridge between our Ethiopian family, born and raised Ethiopian, and the Rastafari global family. We want to be that platform that can really bridge the gap because we have so much work to do. So big up Lidge Nebiat for all of his work. Big up all the people who are coming together to make this possible. We have done it, we are doing it, and we will continue to grow. So I want to just get all of the housekeeping out of the way before we bring forward this monumental guest. Also, big up our Ubuntu Lion Pride sponsors. You can become an Ubuntu with a contribution of 100 US and above. One-time contribution is a lifetime distinction. That number will go up. So big up all of our Ubuntu Lion Pride and everyone again who values us having our own voice and not depending on third parties to talk about Rastafari and our Pan-African worldview. All right, family, get ready. Get your ital snacks. Get your meditation correct. We are going to take a travel into the history with a powerful, powerful guest, the son of a legend, Isaiah Angel. And you can fight me in the comments. I don't care. This is a great patriot of Ethiopia. Help us to welcome none other than the great Makonnen Ketema. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you, Brother Kwasi. Thank you for having me on your show. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I want to thank you for agreeing to be here. We have a tradition here on the Lion Talk show. We have what's called the Lion Talk Time Machine, where we ask our guests to step into our time machine, take us to the moment of your birth. Where were you born? Paint the picture. We want the lions to tell their own story. Where were you born? What was your childhood like growing up? What brought you into consciousness of your legacy? Give us that story.
So I was born in 1967 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I was born to my parents, Ketema Yifru and Haile Selassie I we had a wonderful childhood until 7. I
Okay.
have three brothers, Johannes, Mikhail, and Mulugeta.
Okay.
And we had a good childhood until 7. And of course, my father was the foreign minister of Ethiopia
Yes.
before that,
Yes.
and later minister of tourism and industry.
Okay.
But then, as you know, 1974 happened in Ethiopia, a very
Yes.
sad part of our history. And my father was taken away. He was a political prisoner until I became, what, 15 years old. So I didn't see my father a lot. We would see him maybe once a year. They would allow us to see him once a year.
Oh
So
wow.
that part of our childhood was not that, uh, it was not that great.
Yeah, of
But
course.
we managed. We managed, thanks to our mom, very strong lady, who was, raised for young boys. And so when I was 15, my father was released from prison. Probably the happiest day in my life.
Okay.
Uh,
So how old
finished
were
high
you?
school,
How old were you when he went into prison? Into
almost 7,
okay.
almost 7,
Okay.
and a few months shy of being 7. And then I was 15 or so when he was released. But it was nice. He got to see my last year of high school, which was great. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
he came to our school, participated as a parent. So I think that was probably one of the best year of my life. I'd say.
And this is in Addis Ababa you're talking
This
about.
was in Addis Ababa,
Okay.
Ethiopia.
What was the name of your high school?
It was called Sanford. It was a private school,
Okay.
Sanford English School.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
then also, do you remember life under the emperor up to the age of 7 before 74? Do you have any memories of the emperor personally?
Yeah, I do remember him, but more so, I have this beautiful picture with the emperor.
Okay.
Uh, shaking his hand with him having this big smile. And actually, that picture is passed along so much that I don't even think that people know it's me. But yeah, so that's the memory I have. He was the father of our country, and we used to
Yes.
call him Ababa
Yes.
father, basically. Yeah. So the memories I have of him is, he was just like a grandfather, a father. That's how a lot of people used to see him back then.
Yes, yes.
Caring, very incredibly caring person.
Did your father ever talk to you about the emperor? Did he ever share his feelings about the emperor with you as you grew, the time that you had with him?
He did, and most of the information there is based on the conversations I've had with my
Okay,
father. So yeah, you know what he used to say? He used to say that he was the product of the emperor's education campaign.
okay,
Basically, it was. I mean, the emperor went as far as giving education to kids with humble backgrounds, and that's how my father became who he was because
okay.
of the emperor. So he had very fond memories of the emperor, and he was one man, with that great stature, who listened to advice, who had an open mind. So yeah, he had very fond memories of
Beautiful, beautiful. And what was going to an English high school like in Addis Ababa in those days, in your early
him.
days?
It helped in ways that, once we left school, it was easy to transition to the US. It helped in that. Um, the only problem I had back then, looking back, is they didn't work on our culture. The
Okay.
unfortunate thing is they talked about their culture and not
Yes.
ours. So we had to catch up later on. But
And
I think that's the drawback. That's the
yeah,
drawback. I think.
and
But
this is
but go ahead. Go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
I was gonna say this is one of the critiques. I interviewed Haile Garima, the
Yeah.
renowned filmmaker on this platform, and that was one of the main critiques that he had about the education system. Is
Sure.
that the foreign teachers did not teach the Ethiopians their culture, and my response um, is that I think the emperor, in his efforts to modernize, did not have a lot of good choices to scale at the rate that he scaled. He had to bring in teachers that would bring in this modernized education, but with that, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, you are educating the masses, but then you are also these foreign ideas and concepts, because of course they don't know Ethiopian history. But the purveyors of education prior to this influx of foreign teachers would have been the church. The Orthodox
Yeah.
Church was the primary instrument of education in the country at that time, and they were not going to bring that modern nation state type of education to the
That's
mass.
true.
So, what do you think about that
No,
analysis?
I totally agree. I totally agree because you have to work with what you have, and in order to move forward, you have to bring in these teachers from outside because uh, 1935. That's when the Italians uh, invaded Ethiopia, and they were there for like 5 years. So, could you imagine? Not a lot of education.
Yes,
They probably destroyed all the schools back then. So,
yes,
the little that we had. So we
yes,
had to build again, and the emperor was, as took the responsibility of being the minister of education. I mean,
yes,
this is
yes,
how far he used to look. He was so much into developing his country. So like you said, it's a double-edged sword, but you had to get them in there
yes,
until we trained our own.
yes,
So I think that was the case, but it did good. I mean, I'll tell you, my father was also educated by uh, foreigners. But I think what happened was back then, they were so much into their culture. They were so much into being an Ethiopian
yes,
that it didn't affect them that much.
yes,
And of course, they came back after going to the US and they did huge things. So, I mean, thanks to them, uh, their sons, their daughters as well, have kept their culture as well.
yes. And I'm glad that you said that, because after the Italian invasion, a lot of the early people that were sent abroad were murdered. by the during the Italian occupation, and the emperor really had to start over a lot of his
Yes.
educational efforts because the cadre of brilliant Ethiopians that he had sent out, many of them had been slaughtered systematically during the Italian invasion. Something that's not talked about a lot, but it's a testament to his vision of education. And I always tell people, what would have happened if the emperor's reforms had gone unimpeded? How far would what he accomplished in the face of great obstacles? But imagine if, because remember that the nobility was against his educational reform plan. The church was also against his educational reform. So the opposition was not just from outside powers, but also internal, bringing this Western education, disrupting. I always say he raised Ethiopians from peasants to citizens, and for this he was hated by many. But talk about, what were some of the things, I think, for a global audience of, obviously you knew Amharic growing up, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. So what were some, in terms of just paint a picture, what was a typical day like at the Sanford school?
So the typical day, I mean, every class was given taught in English. Amharic, they didn't spend much time,
Okay.
unfortunately. And as far as history classes were concerned, it was mostly about Great Britain
Okay.
and so forth, Europe. So at least when we were young, we used to get um, schooled in European history and not our own, which is very unfortunate.
Yes, yes.
But then again, the education was much better than most of the schools there. So I cannot complain. I was fortunate, lucky to be there in a sense,
Yes.
because myself, my brothers, and all my friends, we talk about our upbringing in that school. We have pleasant memories of
Okay.
those. We used to play soccer while we were there.
Yes.
Athletics, as part of the athletic team. So as far as education was concerned, though, I think it was great in a sense that it wasn't hard to come to America and get into the university. It made it easier by
Okay.
going to Western school, I guess.
Okay. When did you first become aware that something was awry in Ethiopia? Or as a young person, did they talk about the creeping red terror, this Derg that came upon. Did you have any awareness as a child that something was out of place?
Well, the first day was when they took my father away. I mean,
Okay.
that was when I still have it in me. I mean, I still remember it, just like as if it was yesterday.
Wow.
Some military soldiers, jeeps came into the compound, and they took him away. That's when I knew, at least even at that age, that nothing good was going to happen, because you
Yes.
see you see your dad being taken away, and later on, of course, as you just mentioned, then the Red Terror. They went after young people. Um, People that I know, kids that I know, were killed.
Iron Vice.
Yeah.
Well, Haile Selassie I, the first, the Almighty. And this is the DejazmatchKwasi. Where there are set thrones of judgment to judgment. Thrones of the house of the great King David. I shall pray for the peace of Ethiopia. May peace be within thy walls and prosperity within thy palaces. Well, don't cry tears. The Lion of Judah shall break all their chains. Face your fears. The passage of time can heal all of our pain. Use your eyes and ears so you can see and hear all of their games. See your peers everywhere. Most man a struggle, but the times are the same. Them got a slave mentality. Slave reality, slave you for salary. Plus police, them full of partiality. For personalities, we fight principalities. And powers we not care about humanity. Them work for vanity, it's all insanity. Most people just want some autonomy. Them will kill your family if they build them economies. Don't cry tears, the Lion of Judah shall break all their chains. Face your fears, the passage of time can heal all of our pain. Use your eyes and ears, so you can see and hear all of their games. See your peers everywhere, most man a struggle, Babylon's all the same.